And speak up.
So I want to talk to you about the vCloud product, so VMware vCloud Director. So that is our infrastructure as a service product that we sell both for private clouds, but also for service providers. I sent Dave this picture, and he's like, "Are you sure that's the picture you want to put up there?" So this is VMworld Hands-On Labs. So VMworld 2011, about 40,000 people came to Las Vegas, about 15,000 came to Copenhagen in Denmark. And so what you see here are the hands-on labs. So if you want to get trained or pass your certification on any of the VMware products, this is the place you go. So we did about 50 hours of labs in Las Vegas. And this whole infrastructure, everything you see here, all of these folks taking labs, all runs on top of vCloud Director. So in that 50 hours of lab time, about 150,000 virtual machines created and destroyed. About, I forget how many terabytes of, it was something like 9.7 billion IOPS or something like that, the statistics for this whole thing. But it's a good example of the kind of scale and the kind of approach that you have with a vCloud product. In terms of who it's for, Dave asked me to talk about, so who's the target market for this? And it's primarily existing applications. So if you want to bring an existing application along to the cloud, you want to bridge the gap between sort of the brave new world and some of the things like somebody like a Netflix is doing, where they rewrote their application over the course of 2 years, wrote their own paths, hired a bunch of computer science PhDs, did a phenomenal job in sort of building this, turning into this amazing distributed application. If you're not quite ready for that and you want to sort of have a smoother transition, then essentially that is where most of our customers go, and that's where most of our customers come from. So they tend to sort of self-select into that marketplace. So in terms of vCloud Director's approach, it's built on top of vSphere and vCenter. And so the objective is to essentially give you a way to take your existing application or build an application that is maybe from a more traditional architecture. We give you the construct of a virtual data center. And the purpose there is really so that you can do things like secure delegation. So you can delegate administration for a virtual data center off to another group. So that might be a group of developers, or it could be a business unit if you're in a larger organization. And they are free to do whatever they like inside the confines of the virtual data center that defines the sort of resource boundaries that are available. So for most organizations, it's a way to delegate administration without delegating or a free-for-all in terms of resources. So in terms of the constructs inside the product, if you are familiar with VMware, it is very, very familiar to you. And that's also one of the things that we see our customers look for. The other interesting thing about our approach is the integration with public service providers. So one of the things that we have done from a programmatic perspective is built out a network of providers. There are about 6,000 providers in the VMware Service Provider program today. About 2,000 of them are licensed for vCloud Director. And we also have certification programs for clouds based on vCloud Director. So what that means to you as a private cloud is that you have this option of these compatible clouds that have the same API, the same infrastructure behind them, and that can function essentially as an extension of your existing private cloud based on vCloud Director. So the product has been out for about 18 months. We're currently in version 1.5, be a new version later on this year in the second half. Some of the more interesting things in the most recent version was integration on the back end with a publish and subscribe message bus for changes. So the purpose here was to enable our customers to do better integration on the back end with things like maybe a CMDB. So when something happens inside of the product, like a VM is provisioned, and you maybe want to track something associated with that, then you can basically subscribe to those messages on the back end with something like RabbitMQ, receive those messages, and then go off and do something. And you can also change the workflow associated with a particular action through that mechanism as well. Other interesting thing that we see a lot of customers use is virtual networking capability. So for any particular application, you can build a virtualized layer 2 network. Each application is wrapped in a thing that we call a vApp. From VMware, everything has to start with V. So the vApp wrapper is a way to group cooperating virtual machines. You can give them a virtual firewall. You can give them any virtual networking topology inside of that. And the interesting thing there for this year is really the standardization of that through a standard that we worked out with Cisco and Arista and Juniper and a bunch of other guys called VXLAN. So that is essentially a more standard way of doing the network encapsulation for that virtual networking capability. So you'll see some new stuff from us for this year on that. So that's essentially the overview on VMware vCloud. What else?
Well, I think you've done what we're going to see. So
okay.
I think you've got it.
You got it?
Right. Wrapped up.
Okay. Thanks
right.
very much.
Thank you very much.